Everyone, this is Sara Osama Hassan. I'm a teaching assistant in the Business Administration Department at the Faculty of Commerce, Cairo University. Today we're going to explain Chapter 3, Perception, Attribution and Judgment of Others. Well, I'm very glad to present this chapter to you because it is very interesting. It's about perception, which means how we understand the world around us, how we interpret the world around us, whether in our normal lives or in our lives in organizations. That is our organizational life. So let's start with the learning objectives of this chapter. By the end of this chapter, you will be able to define perception and discuss some of the general factors that influence perception. Number 2, you will be able to describe the main biases in person perception. And finally, you will be able to describe how people form attributions about the causes of behavior. So let's see what perception really is. Perception is the process of interpreting the messages of our senses to provide order and meaning to the environment. I hope you notice here that the word interpreting is underlined and is written in bold. Why is that? This is because the word interpreting is the key word to understanding what perception really is. Perception is about how we interpret the many inputs that our mind receives every day through our senses, which is the smelling sense, the tasting sense, the sight, the hearing, and the touching. All these senses are used to be able to receive messages and to interpret the world around us, to understand. So we get messages through our senses, and our perception refers how we understand these messages, how we interpret them, how we understand the world around us, how we understand targets. And you will come across the word target a lot. And it refers to everything we face that we try to understand, interpret, or perceive. This target could be a person in front of you that you are trying to understand or perceive, a message, a comment, or even a situation. So let's have an example here. Look at this picture with me. When you look at this picture, you are probably going to see, you could see, for example, an old lady. You will tell me, how is that? I'll tell you, move with me with the cursor. If we move with the cursor, we will find that this is the chin of the old lady, this is her mouth, this is her nose, and this is her eye. I'm sure while I'm saying this, some of you who are currently watching this video will tell me that that's not what we see. What we saw first is a very beautiful young lady. Let's see, how is that? Well, if you move with the cursor, this could be the chin of the young lady, this could be her nose, this could be her eyelash, and she even has a feather over her hair. So that's the same target, that is the same picture, but some of us saw it differently from others and perceived it differently from others. So that is the main idea of perception. We might be faced with the same target, the same picture, yet Because we are different, we see things differently and interpret them differently. So why is perception so important? Perception is so important because people base their actions on the interpretation of reality that their perceptual system provides rather than on reality itself. What do we mean by that? This means that the reality could be something, but what you really interpret of this reality is a totally another thing. So, we'll have an example on that, but to summarize, perception leads to action. How I perceive the situation will lead to how I will act accordingly. For example, if you are an employee who works in an organization and you perceive your salary to be very low, what do you think you will do if you perceive your salary to be very low? Most probably you're going to seek employment in another firm. But the question now is your salary really very low? Actually, you might be the best person paid in your department. أنت بتاخد أعلى salary in your department compared to your peers. Yet, this fact will not matter to you if you are comparing your salary to the salary of the CEO. In that case, you will probably find your salary to be low compared to that of the CEO. But is that a right comparison? So here we see that how we interpret reality affects how we act afterwards, even though our perception of reality may not be reality itself. So, why do we not perceive reality as it is? Oh, another question. Why do different people perceive the same thing or the same target differently? Well, the answer will be clarified in the following section, where we will know that there are components of perception, and each of these components affects the perceptual system or the perceptual process. Components of perception. Perception has three components: a perceiver, you and me, who are trying to perceive the world around us, who are trying to perceive targets, who are trying to perceive things. A target that is being perceived. Anything that we are trying to interpret, to understand, or to perceive is called a target. Whether it is a picture, whether it is a person, or a comment, as we said before. The third component is the situational context in which the perception is occurring. For example, if you are trying to understand a comment from your boss, then probably this is happening in a situational context. For example, inside his office. Or you might perceive the same comment or message from your boss, which was sent to you through the mobile while you were at home, for example. That's a different situational context. So in this figure, we can see how the three components of perception actually affect perception or the perceptual process. We'll see that the perceiver, under the perceiver, there are three aspects related to the perceiver that actually affects perception. What are these three aspects. They are number one, experience, the perceiver's experience, the motivational state or the needs of the perceiver, and the emotional state. Also, the target, whether it is ambiguous or not, affects the perception and the situation too. Each component influences the perceiver's impression or interpretation of the target. Let's start with the perceiver. And let's look at this picture. In this picture there are two people, the one on the right and the one on the left. They are both looking at a glass of water. And I'm sure most of you are very familiar with this example because we use it in our daily conversations in giving examples about pessimistic and optimistic people. So, the one on the left is saying that the glass is half full, and the man on the right is saying that it is half empty. So why do you think these two people perceive the same target differently? Well, actually because they are two different people with probably two different personalities. For example, the woman, let's say the one on the left is a woman. She's optimistic, yet the one on the right is pessimistic. So why is that? The lady on the left could be optimistic because she has gone through many nice and good experiences throughout her life, which caused her to be an optimistic person, and her pleasant previous experiences caused her to perceive the glass of water as half full, while the one on the right could have gone through many bad experiences throughout his life that caused him to see the glass of water half empty. So from this example we can see that past experiences lead the perceiver to develop expectations that affect current perceptions. For example, another example, there was a study done asking about the influence of gender on promotion. What does that mean? In a study, that asked a number of respondents whether they think gender influences promotion. Yani they asked them, do you think that gender influences promotion? So in this study, the respondents, who were composed of men and women, we will find that 31% of the male respondents, the men, saw that gender actually influences promotion, yet 87% of the women saw that gender influences promotion. So what does that signify? Apparently, the percentage of women thinking that gender influences promotion is much larger than the percentage of men. So why is that? This is probably due to their past experiences. Yani most probably men throughout their work life, they didn't face the problem of not being promoted just because they are males. And that is why when they were asked whether being a male or female affects promotion, a small percentage of them agreed with this idea. Yet, most probably women experience throughout their work lives the problem of not being promoted just because they were females. يعني غالبا السيدات لقوا خلال مشوارهم العملي لقوا إن هم ما بيترقوش just because they were female. و that is why لما تسألوا هل تفتكر إن whether أنت male or female هيأثر على whether أنت هتترقى ولا لأ, a large percentage of the women saw that yes, gender influences promotion. See how past experiences lead the perceiver to develop expectations that affect current perceptions. شفتوا ازاي ال past experience أثر على ال perception of how gender affects promotion. طيب, what else is related to the perceiver and affects perception? The perceiver's needs unconsciously influence perceptions by causing us to perceive what we wish to perceive. For example, in a study, they found that perceivers who have been deprived of food will tend to see more edible things in ambiguous pictures than will well-fed observers. يعني إيه؟ يعني a study was done جابوا فيها two groups of people. ناس were hungry and others were well fed. يعني they have eaten. Okay? The people who were hungry, الناس اللي ما كانتش واكلة, لما اتعرض عليهم ambiguous pictures, صور مش واضحة, صور unclear pictures فيها رسومات مش واضحة, they saw these unclear drawings as edible things, as things that they can eat. Why? Because they were hungry. Yet the other people who were well fed did not see the ambiguous drawings as edible things. نفس فكرة السراب. عارفين لما واحد الإكزامبل اللي كنا بنسمعها دايما إن people when they are in a desert alone and they are very thirsty, they could see, for example, trees as bottles of water or bottles of soft drinks. Okay? So that's the main idea. So what can we understand from this is that our current needs affect how we perceive the targets in front of us. The third thing that is related to the perceiver is his or her emotions. So emotions such as anger, happiness, or fear can influence our perceptions. For example, a worker who is upset about not getting a promotion might perceive the consolation provided by a co-worker as gloating condescension. What do we mean by that? Suppose you were waiting for a promotion and you didn't get it. انت كنت مستني انك تترقى والترقية ما جاتلكش. Okay? Your colleague or your peer might come to you and tell you, I'm so sorry that you didn't get the promotion. هو زميلك زعلان وبيقولك أنا زعلان إن أنت ما جالكش الترقية. Just because you are angry about not getting the promotion, this may lead you to think that this comment or this consolation is gloating condescension. يعني أنت ممكن تفتكر إن كلامه ليك ده هو نوع من الشماتة أو إن هو فرحان فيك, which might not be the case. Just because you are angry now, your emotion now is anger, the emotion you are experiencing is anger, made you perceive things different from what they may actually be. Okay? Perceptual defense. The tendency for the what is perceptual defense? It is the tendency for the perceptual system to defend the perceiver against unpleasant emotions. يعني إيه؟ يعني people often see what they want to see and hear what they want to hear. For example, suppose you have a friend and you find your friend lying to other people. بتشوف إن صاحبك بيكذب على الناس التانية قدامك. You wouldn't want to perceive him or her as a liar. عشان هو صاحبك انت مش عايز to perceive him as a liar or as a person who lies. مش عايز تحس ان صاحبك كذاب. So what do? You actually tell yourself, you try to find excuses for your friend and you tell no, he's not a liar. Maybe he just had to say these things because he was in that particular situation, but usually he does not lie. طيب أنا ليه بعمل كده؟ عشان my perceptual system works to ensure that we do not say or hear things that are threatening. انت لما تحس ان صاحبك كذاب ده شعور threatening. هتحس ان يعني this is not a friend. يعني ده مش صاحبك اللي تتمنى يكون صاحبك. اوكي وبالتالي بتقول لا he's not a liar. هو مش كذاب وبتحاول تلاقيله excuses. اوكي او مثلا لو سمعت صوت، لو انت قاعد في البيت سمعت صوت مثلا كلب يعني a barking dog مثلا the barking of a dog. سمعت صوت the barking of a dog والصوت بيخوف. so عشان انت مش عايز تحط نفسك في وضع الخوف ده ممكن ان انت تقول it might be a sound from the TV. it is not inside my house مثلا عشان انت مش عايز تبعد عن نفسك فكرة ان في كلب جوه البيت مثلا. okay so this is the perceptual defense. Number two, the second component of perception is the target. Again, we come to this picture, but in this time we will compare it to the picture on the left. From what we see, we can see that the picture on the left is actually a clear picture, while the one on the right is an ambiguous picture. يعني in the picture on the right, which we came across before, it is a bit ambiguous. You could see more than one thing in it. Yet the one on the left is quite clearer. It is a photo or a picture of a young lady. Okay? I don't think we can see something else in it. يعني it couldn't be something else but a young lady. Accordingly هنلاقي إن ده target وده target. The one on the left is a target and the one on the right is a target, but the one on the left is a clear target, yet the one on the right is an ambiguous target. target غامض مش واضح. okay? وبالتالي لما بيبقى عندنا target ambiguous هو ده التارجت اللي بيبقى فيه perception أكتر. يعني اللي فيه فكرة perception واضحة فيه أكتر، لأن كل واحد فينا بيختلف عن التاني وكل واحد perceive it in a different way. okay? لكن target on the left most probably all of us are going to perceive it the same way. يبقى ambiguous targets are especially susceptible to interpretation and the addition of meaning. Okay? For example, the pictures that I have shown you before. Perceivers have a need to resolve ambiguities. ambiguities الغموض أو الحاجة اللي احنا مش واضحة لينا. Okay, so the perceiver does not or cannot use all the information provided by the target. يبقى ليه الناس perceive the same target differently؟ من ضمن الحاجات إن ال perceiver نفسه cannot use all the information provided by the target. يعني إيه؟ يعني example, writing clearer memos might not get the message across. يعني ممكن حد عايز يشرح حاجة يقولها بطريقة مختلفة كل شوية ويحاول إن هو يadd more information عشان اللي قدامه يفهمها. اللي قدامه ده perceiver، وبالتالي ال perceiver ممكن بالرغم من إن أنا عمالة أزود في information عشان ال perceiver يفهمها بالطريقة الصح، he still might not get it. He still might not understand it. ليه؟ لأن ال perceiver مش دايما بيقدر إنه يستخدم كل ال information اللي provided to him by the target. Accordingly, a reduction in ambiguity by providing more information about the target might not be accompanied by greater perceptual accuracy. يعني لو أنا حبيت أقلل الغموض اللي في التارجت أو عدم الوضوح اللي في التارجت by adding more information about the target، مش بالضرورة ال perceiver هي perceive it accurately. Okay؟ ليه؟ عشان البوينت اللي قبليها اللي وضحناها that the perceiver does not or cannot use all the information provided by the target. Example. Suppose we have a prejudiced manager. A manager that does not tolerate difference. That is, for example, a racist. He does not like people from different races or genders. لو ال prejudiced manager ده بقى مسؤول عن minority workers، ناس from a different race or gender وعددهم قليل. Okay? فهما minority. مادام هو manager متحامل أو متعصب، most probably his or her perceptions of their true abilities، يعني manager's perceptions of the true abilities of the minority workers will not be improved no matter how they work hard. يعني minority workers دول يعتبروا target، وهم هيحاولوا إن هم they work hard to give more information to the prejudiced manager about how well their true abilities are. بس نتيجة إن ال prejudiced manager عنده فكرة معينة في مخه متمسك بيها إن هو ضد الناس minority، مهما هم ادوله information زيادة about their hard work and about their abilities، he's not going to use these information, and he will keep on thinking the same way, and he will keep on perceiving them the same way he intended to. The third aspect of perception is the situation. كل perception لأي target بيحصل في situational context. If we look at this picture, you will see someone on the right and someone on the left. The one on the right sees that in front of him there are 3 sticks, yet the one on the left is seeing that there are 4 sticks. Why is that? The target is the same, but these 2 people are perceiving it differently. Why is that? We can say that even the fact that one is on the right and one is on the left changes the situational context in which the target is perceived. يعني هنلاقي فعلا الشخص اللي على اليمين قدامه فعلا 3 sticks. يعني ودي matter of perspective، يعني الزاوية اللي هو باصص منها which is a kind of situational context made him see that there are 3 sticks, yet the one on the left, from his perspective, there are 4 sticks. And both of them are right, because the reason for this difference in perception is the situational context. Yani that is a simple example to give you an idea. So let's see what's explained here about the situation aspect. Here it is said that perception occurs in some situational context, and this context can affect what is perceived. The perception of a target can change with the situation, even when the perceiver and the target remain the same. يعني إيه؟ يعني أنا ممكن يبقى عندي نفس التارجت وأنا نفس الperceiver, yet from situation to another I will perceive the same target differently. Let's have an example. Imagine a casual comment about your performance from your boss the week before she is to decide whether or not you will be promoted. You will likely perceive this comment very differently from how you would if you were not up for promotion. يعني إيه الكلام ده؟ Here we mean that, for example, imagine that you are an employee in an organization and you are now at the end of the year. And this is the time where promotions are usually decided, and you were expecting to be promoted. And then at that time your boss came to you and told you, well, I'm very satisfied with your performance this year. What do you think? يعني how do you think you will perceive this comment? Most probably you will perceive it as a sign that you are going to get the promotion, that you are going to be promoted. Why? Because the situation helped in making you perceive it this way. It is a time, the situational context is a time in which promotions are usually decided and you are expecting to be promoted. طيب, assume بقى ان انت at the beginning of the year والوقت ده مش وقت ترقيات لأي حد وانت you are not expecting to be promoted أصلا, and then your same boss came to you and told you the same comment. Hello, I'm very satisfied with your performance this year. Okay? Or hello, I'm very satisfied with your performance. Then what will you do? How will you perceive it? You will perceive it as just a comment. Most probably you will perceive it as a normal comment from your boss, that you will think most probably that it is a kind of positive reinforcement or something of the sort, just an encouragement and a positive reinforcement. Okay, so here we can see that the same comment from the same boss, which is the same target, is perceived differently from one situation to another. Okay, to sum up, there are 3 components of perception: perceiver, situation, target. There are 3 aspects to the perceiver: his experience, his motivational state or needs, الموtivational state هي needs, and the emotional state. All these factors related to the perceiver plus the situation plus whether the target is ambiguous or not affect how we perceive things or how our perception works. طيب, now we will move on to the basic biases in person perception. So these basic biases in person perception refers to some mistakes that we commit when trying to perceive things. أو بلاش mistakes, هي نوع من biases أو the mistakes that we fall in doing, in committing when we are trying to perceive things. طيب, يعني حاجات بتخليني biased ومش موضوعية in my perception, okay, of targets. The impressions we form of others are susceptible to a number of perceptual biases. أول حاجة primacy and recency effects. Number 2, reliance on central traits. Number 3, implicit personality theories. Number 4, projection. Number 5, stereotyping. Primacy and recency effects. هنبدأ بالprimacy effect. Primacy effect refers to the reliance on early cues or first impressions. يعني إيه؟ يعني إن أنا perceive the target based on the first impression. وأكيد we are very familiar with the saying that says first impressions last forever. It is actually true. In most situations, your first impression, the first impression you give about yourself, whether at work or whether with people in your normal life, affects how they perceive you throughout your life. Yani it takes a very long time to change a first impression. And that is why we say primacy often has a lasting impact. For example, the worker who can favorably impress his or her boss in the first few days is in an advantageous position due to primacy. يعني الemployee أو الworker اللي بيقدر إن هو يسيب انطباع كويس عنه عند المدير بتاعه بيبقى في وضع كويس جدا نتيجة فكرة first impressions أو primacy effect. يعني for example at university, when you attend the lecture on time and you are not late, probably your professor will have a good impression about you. You will leave a good impression about yourself too. However, and your professor will perceive you as a person who is disciplined. Yet, if you attend the first lecture late and you come and you enter the room after the lecture has started, you will probably give a bad impression about yourself. And this bad first impression will take a very long time to change, because we tend to perceive targets based on the first impressions. I think you got the idea. طيب, ايه recency effect؟ هو نفس الidea بس عكس primacy effect. The tendency for a perceiver to rely on recent cues or last impressions is known as the recency effect. Example: a salesperson who succeeded in landing or obtaining a big contract today might be perceived as excusing a whole year's bad sales performance. يعني suppose you are a salesperson and throughout your whole year your performance in sales has been very bad. لكن at the end of the year you succeeded at obtaining a big contract. You made a very big sale with a key customer that resulted in very high returns to the company. In that case, based on recency effects, you will be perceived as a successful salesperson based على ايه؟ based عن ال last cue أو ال most recent cue أو ال last impression اللي هو your ability to obtain أو to land a big contract، وخلانا ننسى all your past years bad performance. okay؟ وممكن يكون بالعكس، يعني لو انت طول السنة كويس جدا and then at the end of the year your performance declined، في الحالة دي ايه؟ ممكن وارد جدا ان ال evaluation بتاعك يبقى based بس على ال last impression اللي هو كان ال decline in your performance، وفي الحالة دي which is طبعا very biased. احنا مش المفروض نحكم على الناس based only on his recent cue or his last impression. On the contrary، احنا المفروض نحكم بطريقة objective على ال whole year's performance، مش أركز بس على ال first impression أو ال last impression. okay؟ يعني النقطة اللي كنت بقولها ممكن العكس، ممكن انت تبقى كويس جدا طول السنة وبعدين تعمل موقف في آخر السنة مش كويس أو البرفورمانس بتاعك يديكلاين، وبالتالي يتحكم عليك based on تبقى perceived as مثلا a not successful salesperson based on the last on your most recent sales performance. وقلنا زي ما قلت إن this is not an objective way in perception. On the contrary, it is a biased way. طريقة غير موضوعية في إدراك الشخص اللي قدامنا أو إدراك البرفورمانس بتاعه والحكم عليه. Okay. The second bias, the second source of bias is reliance on central traits. People tend to organize their perceptions around central traits. يعني إيه؟ Central traits are personal characteristics of a target person that are of particular interest to a perceiver. يعني suppose you are a manager and you want to perceive an employee who works under your supervision. okay? Usually انت as a manager بيبقى عندك central traits. يعني ايه central traits؟ يعني بتدور على personal characteristics في التارجت person اللي قدامك اللي هو الامبلويي، بتدور على ال characteristics دي فيه وعلى أساسها you perceive this person حسب بقى ال characteristic اللي مهمة بالنسبة لك ك perceiver. Central traits often have a very powerful influence on our perceptions of others. للأسف ال central traits دي اللي بنحكم على أساسها بنperceive على أساسها ال target person بيبقى لها تأثير جامد جدا في ال perception بتاعنا لل target. Again here ايه example personal characteristics ممكن نحكم بيه على الناس. يعني suppose you're a manager and you want to perceive قلنا an employee. You might be looking at his ممكن يكون ال central trait بالنسبة لك his intellectual abilities. فأنت you are trying to see مثلا how he performed during his university years. كانت ال grades بتاعته ايه؟ Or did he have high grades or did he have low grades? وعلى أساسها you will perceive this target person. لكن for example لو أنت نفس الشخص and you are trying to perceive someone that you just met at a party for example, the central traits في الحالة دي هتتغير from situation to another. يعني أكيد أنت لو قابلت حد at a party you're not going to perceive him based on his grades for example. You probably want to know the extent to which this person is sociable or not. وبالتالي ال central traits دي ممكن تتغير from one situation to another even if you are the same perceiver. نفس ال idea that we have explained before in the components of the perception process and we talked about how the situation affects perception. طيب قالك إن ال physical appearance is a common central trait in work settings. Studies have shown that your physical appearance as a target affects how you are perceived in your organization. طبعا this is not an objective way خالص. This is a biased way, but unfortunately it happens and it has been proven through research and studies. It was found that conventionally attractive people fare better يعني perform better than unattractive people in terms of a variety of job-related outcomes. حتى الهايت الطول بتاعك is an obvious aspect of physical appearance that is related to job performance, promotions and career success. يعني that was the results of some research that has been conducted. ولقوا إن ال physical appearance فعلا بيأثر على how you are perceived وحتى في ال outcomes ال job related outcomes اللي انت بتحصل عليها whether it is a promotion, a salary, all these outcomes. Okay. Number 3, implicit personality theories. يعني ايه implicit personality theories? It is personal theories that people have about which personality characteristics go together. What do we mean by that? يعني انت احيانا الناس بيبقى عندها theories يعني من عندهم كده مع نفسهم that الشخص اللي بيتسم بصفات معينة بصفة معينة بيتسم في نفس الوقت بصفة تانية بتتوافق مع الصفة دي. For example, what? Some people have theories that hardworking people are also honest. Also, people of average intelligence are more friendly. طيب ايه المشكلة في ال implicit personality theories؟ إن usually they are not accurate. يعني if such implicit theories are inaccurate, they provide basis for misunderstanding. يعني لو كانت ال idea بتاعتنا دي about which characteristics go together، لو كانت الidea دي inaccurate هتؤدي إلى big misunderstandings and just going to lead to many problems. For example, suppose you are an employee and you assume that your very formal boss is also insensitive. يعني أنت تصورت إنه بما إن my boss is very formal he's probably insensitive. ده هيخليك إيه؟ You might have a work-related problem. أنت عندك مثلا problem related للwork. مثلا you feel that your salary is too low and you want to discuss this problem with your boss. الفكرة اللي انت واخدها عن your boss دي that he is insensitive will lead you to be reluctant. هتبقى متردد ومش عايز ان انت to discuss a work-related problem with him مع ان this problem if you discuss it with him it could be solved fairly easily. ويمكن هو يبقى منفتح ويحاول يحللك المشكلة دي، لكن انت مع نفسك قررت ان هو بما انه formal he is insensitive. طيب the fourth source of bias is projection, which is the tendency for perceiver to attribute their own thoughts and feelings to others. يعني ايه؟ يعني انت you think that what you think, you assume that what you think and what you feel other people also think and feel. يعني the people think as you think and feel as you feel. طيب ايه مشكلة الحكاية دي؟ مشكلتها انها it can lead to perceptual difficulties. هتخليك ان انت to perceive people wrongly، لان مؤكد ان مش كل الناس بتفكر زي ما انت بتفكر ولا بتحس زي ما انت بتحس. and can serve as a form of perceptual defense at the same time. خلينا الأول نشوف the perceptual difficulties. Example: an honest warehouse manager who perceives others as honest might find stock disappearing. يعني suppose you are a warehouse manager, أنت مدير مخزن and you are honest، أنت واحد أمين. Due to projection, which is a source of bias in perception, you will perceive others as honest too. هتعتبر إن كل الناس honest زيك. What will be the result of that is that you will find stock disappearing. هتلاقي إن الstock والinventories بتاعتك عمالة تختفي. طب ليه؟ عشان أنت عملت wrong perception of others based on حاجة اسمها projection. ايه بقى حكاية ال stereotyping دي اللي احنا حتى بنسمعها recently we hear it a lot in TV and in many places. فكرة ال stereotyping it is the tendency to generalize about people in a social category and ignore variations among them. So we can see here that the word generalize is written in bold, which signifies that it is the key word to stereotyping. فكرة generalization أو التعميم على الناس، نقول إن كل الناس بيتسموا بصفة معينة أو كل الناس behave in a certain way. Okay? فدي أكبر غلطة بنقع فيها لما بنعمل perception للناس، إن إحنا نعمم that we generalize. It is a major source of bias وبتخلينا غير موضوعيين في الحكم على الناس. Okay? طيب الناس بتgeneralize based on what؟ بتgeneralize عن الناس اللي بينتموا ل يعني categories معينة. So categories on which people might base a stereotype include race, include age, include gender, includes ethnic background, social class or occupation and so on. طب خلينا ناخد example عن stereotyping. إزاي بيحصل stereotyping? There are three specific aspects to stereotyping. Number one, we distinguish some category of people. We choose a specific category. مثلا college professors. Number two, we assume that the individuals in this category have certain traits. زي مثلا إن هما absent-minded, disorganized, and they have an ivory tower mentality. يعني ناس مش practical. عايشين in يعني their mentality as if they are living in an ivory tower وملهمش دعوة بالpractical life. Number 3, we perceive that everyone ونخلي بالنا من كلمة everyone in this category possesses these traits. فنقول ايه stereotype بيبقى ازاي؟ بنقول all my professors أو all college professors this year will be absent-minded, disorganized and have an ivory tower mentality. طبعا دي حاجة مش accurate وحاجة مش موضوعية. It is not objective، لأن طبعا التعميم كلنا عارفين إنه مش حاجة صح، لأن أكيد في بينا اختلافات، وأكيد إن مش كل الناس اللي تبع كاتيجوري معينة يتسموا كلهم بنفس الصفات. أوكي؟ طيب بما إن ال stereotypes are usually inaccurate، ليه؟ Why do they persist؟ ليه النظرية دي الأفكار ال stereotypes دي بتستمر؟ يعني مثلا لما نقول all women are bad drivers, which is a common stereotype. All women are bad drivers. This is definitely not an accurate stereotype. أكيد على الأقل في واحدة من ال women is a skillful driver. طيب ايه الأسباب؟ الأول سبب even incorrect stereotypes help us process information about others quickly and efficiently. يعني ايه؟ يعني stereotypes help us in perceiving people that we are not familiar with بسرعة and efficiently. يعني أسهل حاجة لما أقابل واحدة ست أنا معرفهاش إن أنا أحكم عليها إن هي ما بتسوقش كويس. دي أسهل لي من إني أحاول investigate وأشوف هي بتسوق إزاي and then decide or perceive her as whether she's a skillful driver or not. It's a quickly and efficient way. It's a quick and efficient way. كمان suppose I want to select people to hire them in my company. فأنا لو عندي stereotype مثلا إن مثلا all women are not good candidates for the job، ده هيسهل لي الريكروتمنت والسelection بتاعي، وبالتالي هيسهل لي هيوفر عليا وقت وجهد ان انا مثلا استبعد كل الفيميل candidates وافكر بس في الميلز، مع ان طبعا this is inaccurate and this is incorrect and this will lead to problems, a major problem، لان ممكن يكون الperson اللي انا محتاجه in this job and the right skills and qualifications that I'm looking for can actually be found in a woman candidate, not a male candidate. Okay? طيب تاني حاجة inaccurate stereotypes are often reinforced by selective perception. يعني ايه؟ احنا we are selective in our perception. لما we put people in certain categories when we assume ان the people in this category have certain characteristics، نفضل في نفس الإكزامبل all women are bad drivers. لما بنلاقي information أو informational cues that indicate that women are good drivers، يعني مثلا أنا ماشي في الشارع وبعدين لقيت واحدة ست بتسوق كويس جدا، أنا I tend to ignore this information or informational cue. and ليه؟ عشان to reinforce my stereotype، عشان أفضل مثبتة ومعززة الستيريوتايب بتاعي اللي في مخي اللي هو all women are bad drivers. طيب احنا كل ده كنا we are explaining how we perceive things أو people أو situations أو comments، ازاي we interpret the people. How we interpret the behavior. Someone who how we understand the things. بس attribution is about perceiving causes and motives. يعني أنا واحد جه بعد الساعة 9 والمحاضرة الساعة 9 فعرفت إن هو he came late and I perceived him as someone who's not disciplined. بس what are the reasons behind this being late? يعني when I say someone he came late, that is a perception. بس لما I try to know the causes that caused this person to come late, this is the attribution. Attribution is the process by which we assign causes or motives to explain people's behavior. An important goal is to determine whether some behavior is caused by dispositional or situational factors. يعني أنا بعمل attribution ليه؟ Why do I care about knowing the causes and motives behind people's behavior? It is because I want to understand whether the person behaved in a certain way due to a dispositional or a situational factor. Dispositional يعني whether it is related to a personality factor, يعني whether it is related to his personality ولا due to the situational factor يعني حصل موقف معين, some situation in the environment around this person caused him to behave in a certain way. Dispositional attributions suggest that some personality or intellectual characteristic unique to the person is responsible for the behavior. يعني مثلا if someone succeeded in a test, passed in a test with flying colors مثلا, نجح, he got the full mark, يعني will I say is it due to his intelligence? If it's due to his intelligence, if I say that he succeeded due to his intelligence, then here I'm making a dispositional attribution. Whether بقى ال dispositional attribution ده أي صفات في الشخصية. يعني any person's behavior could be attributed to his, for example, intelligence, his greed, his friendliness, or laziness. كلها حاجات related to the personality. لكن ال situational attribution suggests that the external situation or environment in which the target person exists was responsible for the behavior. يعني السبب في البيهيفير بتاعة التارجت person كانت situational. Situational يعني حصل external situation or factor in the environment that led the person to behave in a certain way. زي مثلا واحد جه متأخر, it might have been due to a situational factor زي ال bad weather. Whether any other behavior could be attributed to good luck, proper tools, or poor advice. طيب ازاي بنحكم على ال behavior سببها dispositional or situational؟ بنعتمد على حاجة اسمها ال attribution cues. والcues دي عبارة عن 3 أسئلة بنسألها لنفسنا. We rely on external cues and make inferences from these cues when making attributions. 3 implicit questions guide decisions as to whether we should attribute some behavior to dispositional or situational causes. ال attribution cues أول حاجة فيهم أول سؤال بنسأله لنفسنا. Does the person engage in the behavior regularly and consistently؟ ودي بنسميها ال consistency cues. يعني هل ال person ده engages in the behavior دايما وبصفة مستمرة ولا لأ؟ تاني سؤال, do most people engage in the behavior or is it unique to this person؟ يعني هل his work colleagues مثلا at school, in college, at work, they engage in the same behavior as his ولا هو بس is the one who engages in this behavior. ودي بنسميها ال consensus cues أو الإجماع. Does the person engage in the behavior in many situations or is it distinctive to one situation؟ يعني throughout this person's life في مواقف مختلفة هل can be engaged in this behavior دايما في كل المواقف ولا behavior دي he engaged in it بس في الموقف اللي حصل ده في موقف معين، وبالتالي بنسميها distinctiveness cues، يعني whether behavior دي بتميز موقف معين ولا هي حصلت في مواقف كتير قبل كده. طيب خلينا نبص على ال consistency cues لوحدها. بنقول attribution cues that reflect how consistently a person engages in some behavior over time. طيب لما ال person engages in a behavior always, when a person always engages in some behavior، يعني مثلا if the person is always late to work, comes late to work، ده معناه ايه؟ ده معناه ان في high consistency، هو دايما he comes late to work، يبقى في high consistency، وال high consistency دليل على dispositional attribution that this behavior is related to his personality. Either بقى he is not disciplined, he is lazy، يعني حاجات ليها علاقة بالpersonality. طيب ال consensus cues, attribution cues that reflect how a person's behavior compares with that of others. No consensus behavior leads to dispositional attributions. طيب يعني suppose إن الشخص اللي احنا we are trying to attribute his behavior to something comes late to work. He came late to work today and all his colleagues also came late today. يبقى احنا في الحالة دي نقدر نقول إن في إجماع على ال coming late today. يبقى ده معناه إن most probably حصل موقف، مثلا كان في bad traffic، الترافيك كان ال roads were crowded، حصل accident، road accident مثلا that led everyone to come late today. أو there was massive rain، anything. لكن طبعا لو هو بس اللي جا late today والناس التانية كلها his colleagues were on time، يبقى ده في الحالة دي مفيش إجماع، في low consensus behavior، وده leads to dispositional attribution. Distinctiveness cues, attribution cues that reflect the extent to which a person engages in some behavior across a variety of situations. يعني هل الشخص ده is late to work and he's late to his مثلا gatherings with his friends، وبرضو he is late to his meetings، يعني في different situations he is always late. في الحالة دي being late is not distinctive to a specific situation. بالعكس يعني being late ما بيميزش موقف معين عن مواقف تانية، بالعكس هو late في المواقف المختلفة، في كل المواقف المختلفة، وبالتالي في الحالة دي بيبقى فيه low distinctiveness behavior which leads to a dispositional attribution. طيب لو حبينا نعمل summary كده للكيوز دي هنلاقي ان ال consistency cues لو high، يعني لو ال person engages in the behavior always all the time بنقول ان السبب بيبقى dispositional، لكن لو في low consistency بنقول ان السبب situational. والconsensus والconsensus على العكس، لو في high consensus يعني كل الناس they engaged in that specific behavior يبقى في الحالة دي the reason was situational. لكن لو في low consensus ال person بس was the one who engaged in that behavior and no one else did يبقى في الحالة دي السبب هيبقى dispositional. وال distinctiveness cues هل ال behavior دي ال person engage in it across different situations ولا في situation معين. فلو في situation معين بيبقى اسمه high distinctiveness، وده بيدل على إن السبب situational. But if there is low distinctiveness يعني ال behavior دي the person engaged in it across different situations يبقى السبب متعلق بشخصية ال person ده، يبقى السبب dispositional. يعني this is a good table for you to summarize the idea of the attribution cues. طيب okay, let's have an exercise كده يورينا how we practice attribution in our work life or in our university life. Okay, let's see. Observers put information about consistency, consensus, and distinctiveness together to form attributions. Consider 3 employees who are absent from work. احنا هنا عندنا 3 employees at work who are absent today. وعايزين نعرف why they were absent today. We will look for cues to find reasons behind their absence today, or to make an attribution. Number 1, Smith. Smith is absent a lot. His co-workers are seldom absent, and he was absent a lot in his previous job. Let's see Smith. هنلاقي إن Smith is absent today, and he is absent a lot. مادام he is absent a lot يبقى فيه high consistency. وزي ما قلنا ال high consistency بتدل على إن ال person's behavior is due to dispositional factors. طيب ندور على الكيو التاني اللي ليه علاقة بالconsensus. بيقول لنا إن his co-workers are seldom absent. يعني هو he is absent a lot, yet his co-workers are seldom absent. يبقى ده معناه ايه؟ في إجماع على الغياب ولا مفيش؟ لأ، مفيش إجماع. Only himself, only Smith is always absent. وبالتالي في low consensus، والlow consensus معناها ايه؟ إن السبب ليه علاقة بالpersonality بتاع الشخص. يبقى the likely attribution is a dispositional attribution based on the consensus cue. فاضل لنا ثالث كيو اللي هو distinctiveness. هنلاقي إن هما بيقولوا that he was absent a lot in his previous jobs. يعني أنا عندي كذا situation، عندي ال current job دي situation، وعندي ال previous jobs دي كلها situations تانية. He was absent هنا in this current job, and he was absent a lot in his previous jobs. يبقى ال absence ده is not distinctive to the current job only. ال absence بتاعه هو حصل في كل ال different situations in all his jobs، وبالتالي في low distinctiveness. وبالتالي برضو في حالة ال low distinctiveness بيبقى ال attribution dispositional. يبقى ال most likely attribution هنا is a dispositional attribution, and Smith is perhaps lazy or irresponsible. طيب, let's see our next employee. Jones is absent a lot. يبقى high consistency will likely attribution إنه dispositional. لكن her co-workers are also absent a lot. هنا في إيه بقى؟ في اختلاف. She's absent a lot and her co-workers are absent a lot. يبقى في high consensus. ولما يبقى في high consensus يبقى likely attribution is a situational attribution. يعني أكيد في سبب خلى كل الناس دي تبقى absent a lot. طيب, but she was almost never absent in her previous job. يبقى هنا بقى ال absence ده distinctive لل current situation اللي هو ال current job. لأن in her previous jobs she was never absent. يبقى هنا في high distinctiveness، وال high distinctiveness دليل على situational attribution. يبقى هنا ال combination of these cues, this combination of cues could lead us to a likely attribution that is a situational attribution. يعني إيه situational attribution؟ يعني perhaps the working conditions are terrible in this job that is causing her and her colleagues to be always absent. Or maybe the boss is nasty. يعني يمكن الboss is not a very pleasant person and this causes them to be absent a lot. The third example is about Kelly. Kelly is seldom absent. Okay, I'm sorry here. Kelly is supposed to be seldom absent, not absent a lot. Okay, that's a mistake. So it is Kelly is seldom absent. And if you look at the example here, okay, هنلاقي Kelly is seldom absent. His co-workers are seldom absent, and he was seldom absent in his previous job. We will go back to Kelly. فهنلاقي إن absent a lot دي mistake. اعتبروها مش موجودة. Consider it not here. I'm so sorry. I apologize for that. So Kelly is seldom absent, not absence. That's another mistake. So Kelly is seldom absent. يعني Kelly is absent today, but he is usually never absent. طيب ده معناه ايه؟ معناه low consistency في الابسنس. يعني هو مش دايما absent، بالعكس هو دايما موجود. He is seldom absent لكن هو غاب today. Okay? So في low consistency في الabsence. And this causes us to think that the attribution is situational. وهنلاقي إن his co-workers are seldom absent. يبقى في high consensus. الاتنين are seldom absent. يبقى في likely reason is situational. And he was seldom absent in his previous job. يعني هو he was seldom absent in his previous job and he is seldom absent in his current job. يبقى في low distinctiveness. يبقى في الحالة دي non-absence يعني حضوره المستمر متعلق بشخصيته dispositional. لكن غيابه النهاردة is most probably due to a temporary situation. يعني هنقول إيه؟ Kelly's absence is inconsistent. Therefore, there is low consistency, and this is a cue that indicates that the reason might be situational. In addition, it is similar to that of co-workers. يعني all of them are rarely absent. Therefore, this is another cue that the reason for the absence is situational. In addition, he was seldom absent in his previous job. طيب يبقى this combination of cues suggests that some temporary short-term situational factor is causing his absence. It is possible that a sick child occasionally requires him to stay at home. يعني ال combination of cues دي بتخلينا نستنتج that the likely attribution is a situational attribution بس في الحالة دي هو temporary situation, short-term situational factor. يعني for example he might have a sick child today. يعني his child became sick, so only today he had to be absent. Okay? Well, actually, that is a summary of the combinations, the cue combinations and the resulting attributions. So, by this point, we will come to the end of this chapter. I hope you have fully understood the chapter and you enjoyed it as much as I did, and I hope you revise it again. And after that, there you will find a quiz, a short quiz that is formed of multiple choice questions, and it is going to test you in the main concepts of this chapter, and I'm sure you will perform very well. And I want to thank you so much for listening to this video. Goodbye.